Have you ever looked at a simple coin and wondered, could this tiny piece of metal change someone's life forever? Imagine holding a simple nickel, yes, a 5-cent coin, and suddenly realizing that this ordinary little circle of metal might be hiding a secret so powerful that it could turn a quiet collector into a millionaire overnight. Sounds like something from a movie, doesn't it? But what if I told you that whispers and rumors in the coin community claim exactly that a Jefferson nickel, a coin millions have held in their hands without a second thought, could be worth not thousands, not tens of thousands, but possibly hundreds of thousands, even $1 million under the right circumstances. Now before you say, that can't be real, pause for a moment. History has shown us many times that extraordinary treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. A rare penny found in an attic, a dime discovered in an old jar, a quarter forgotten in a drawer. Coins that looked common, coins that millions handled, coins that some people tossed into vending machines without ever realizing what they had just given away. And yet, when someone knowledgeable looked closely, when someone spotted that one tiny detail that others overlooked, fortunes changed in an instant. That dream, that possibility, that hope, it exists here too. People talk. Collectors speculate. Online forums buzz with stories. A unique error nickel here, a mysterious variety there, and suddenly the rumor grows like wildfire, there might be a Jefferson nickel worth $1 million. Could it really be true? Could there be a nickel out there that could buy a house, a car, a future? Or is this just another legend, another story born from excitement and imagination? Here's the thing, every great mystery begins with disbelief. Every treasure hunt begins with doubt. Before someone discovered rare 1943 copper pennies worth hundreds of thousands, people called it a myth. Before anyone found the famous 1913 Liberty nickel, people laughed at the idea. Yet those coins exist, real, valuable, legendary, and today, they sit in museums and private collections worth fortunes beyond imagination. So what about this one? What about the Jefferson nickel in your pocket right now, or sitting in a jar at home, or tucked away in a dusty box at your grandparents' house? Could one of those be the coin that sparks headlines one day? Could one tiny metal disc be the ticket to a story you tell for the rest of your life, the moment your 5-cent coin became a treasure worth more than most people earn in years? There are stories of collectors spending night after night searching rolls of nickels, scanning them with magnifiers, hoping to catch that one special error. There are tales of a few rare nickels already discovered, coins that fetched thousands, coins that sent shockwaves through the collector world. And when stories like that emerge, people start asking questions. What else is out there? What hasn't been found yet? What secrets did the mint accidentally create? And could the next discovery belong to you? That's why you need to stay until the very end of this video, because the truth, the real truth behind these million-dollar rumors, is far more surprising than you think. We're going to peel back the layers, step by step, from the coin's origins, to the history that shaped it, to the stunning design details many collectors never even notice, to the rare errors that can transform a 5-cent coin into a museum-worthy prize. And then, only then, we will reveal the real market value, the truth behind the stories, and whether the million-dollar nickel is myth, magic, or a mystery still waiting to be uncovered. So don't blink. Don't skip. You never know when truth sounds like myth, or when myth might actually be truth. By the time we finish this journey, you will see this coin, this simple, humble Jefferson nickel, through different eyes. And who knows? The next time you pick up a nickel, you might just hold your breath, because what if that one moment is the moment everything changes? Stay with me. Watch until the end. Because the secrets we're about to uncover, the real worth of this coin, the surprising facts, the rare varieties, the hidden errors, might just shock you more than the million-dollar rumor itself. This is not just a coin story. This is a treasure hunt. And your adventure starts right here, right now. Before we dive into hidden treasures, rare errors, shocking values, and the truth behind the million-dollar whispers, we need to take a step back, to a time when America was changing, history was shifting, and this little nickel was born not just as a coin, but as a symbol, a message, a legacy stamped into metal. Long before it began appearing in pockets, jars, wallets, and forgotten drawers, the Jefferson nickel had a purpose far greater than everyday spending. Picture the year 1938. The world was standing on the edge of a storm. Tensions rising across oceans, nations preparing for war, people uncertain about the future. At home, the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression. Life was tough, hope was rare, and every small sign of progress mattered. For over 25 years, America had used the buffalo nickel, a rugged, bold coin honoring the spirit of the frontier. But now, the nation wanted something different, a design that represented leadership, vision, strength, and unity. And so, a competition was announced. Artists and sculptors from across the country submitted designs, each one trying to create something meaningful, something lasting. In the end, a young artist named Felix Schlag emerged with the winning design, a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, author of the Declaration of Independence, a visionary thinker, and a man whose ideas shaped a nation. But that's not all. On the reverse, Schlag chose Jefferson's famous home, Monticello. Not a battlefield. Not a statue. A home. A place of thought, philosophy, invention, and inspiration. A quiet symbol of American ideals, freedom, innovation, and dreams built through knowledge. When the Jefferson nickel first entered circulation in late 1938, people didn't just receive a new coin, they received a reminder of the past, a tribute to one of America's greatest thinkers, and perhaps unknowingly, a piece of history that collectors decades later would hunt like treasure seekers searching for gold. And then came the years that tested the world, World War II. Nickel, the metal, became essential for weapons and machinery. Suddenly, the U.S. Mint had a problem. They couldn't waste nickel metal on coins. So from 1942 to 1945, the Jefferson nickel changed. The composition shifted to silver, manganese, and copper. Those wartime nickels, with their bold mint marks above Monticello, became a symbol of sacrifice and adaptation. Today, those wartime coins are a fascinating chapter in American coin history. And yes, some rare pieces from those years are extremely valuable. But the journey didn't stop there. As decades passed, the Jefferson nickel remained untouched, becoming one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Millions were minted, passed through generations, spent at corner stores, saved in piggy banks, tossed in fountains for wishes, and forgotten in old coffee tins. Think about that. A coin introduced before World War II, surviving dramatic changes in the world, and still in circulation today. Imagine how many hands it has passed through. How many stories it has silently lived through. Coins don't just carry value, they carry time, memory, history. And in that river of time, hidden among billions and billions minted over the years, something happened. Mistakes. Minting accidents. Unique varieties. Tiny imperfections that were never supposed to exist. Rare quirks that turned a simple nickel into a collector's dream. And, in rare cases, a coin worth thousands, tens of thousands, even the mythical whisper of $1 million find. This is why collectors today hunt this coin with passion. Not because every nickel is valuable, but because somewhere in the flood of ordinary, there exists the extraordinary. And as this story continues, remember this. Every treasure has a past. Every mystery begins with history. And the Jefferson nickel, born in a time of struggle and hope, has traveled through war, peace, progress, and generations, waiting, quietly, for someone to look closer. Because the past isn't gone. It lives in your hands. And perhaps in your hand right now, sits a coin whose story is still unfolding. Now that we know where this remarkable coin came from, let's step closer, much closer, and study something most people have never truly appreciated, its design. Because believe me, what looks simple at a glance is actually packed with symbolism, meaning, history, and tiny details that can make the difference between a 5-cent coin and a 5-figure treasure. Hold a Jefferson nickel in your hand, or picture it right now. Small, rounded, familiar. A coin we've all seen 1,000 times. But isn't that fascinating? We see it so often that our eyes almost ignore it. It blends into change jars, pockets, vending machines, gas station counters. And yet, this ordinary coin holds a portrait and a building so iconic that they are woven into the very fabric of America. Look at the obverse, the front. A calm, dignified profile of Thomas Jefferson, facing left. Not stern like Washington. Not bold like Lincoln. But thoughtful, confident, visionary. You can almost feel the weight of ideas in his gaze, as if he's watching history ahead of him, seeing a nation rise, imagining the future that generations would inherit. But here's something many miss. Jefferson's portrait has subtly evolved over the decades. Small changes in sharpness, spacing, lettering, and relief. These tiny shifts matter, because experts know that even the slightest design nuance can signal a rare variety or minting anomaly. A slightly doubled letter. A sharper line in the hair. A misplaced mint mark. To the untrained eye, nothing. To a collector, a heartbeat-raising discovery. Around Jefferson are words that echo the core of a nation. In God we trust. Liberty. And the date, marking the moment this piece of metal was born. And somewhere, sometimes bold, sometimes faint, sometimes missing entirely, the mint mark. A tiny letter, barely noticed by most people, yet capable of transforming value instantly. D.P.S. Each telling a story of where this coin began its life. Denver. Philadelphia. San Francisco. 3 mint cities, 3 possibilities, 3 paths to rarity. That little letter can mean the difference between a pocket coin and a piece that collectors hunt like treasure. Now, flip it over. The reverse shows Monticello, Jefferson's legendary home, standing serene and dignified. Not a palace of power, but a sanctuary of thought. Columns, windows, dome, each detail carved with intention. Notice the curves, the symmetry, the classical influence. Jefferson wasn't just a politician. He was an architect, a man who believed in beauty shaped by reason. Above it, the words, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. A reminder that a nation was born not from one voice, but from many hearts and hopes united. Below it, Monticello, so simple, yet the doorway to Jefferson's soul. And then, 5 cents. United States of America. Common words. Deep meaning. Everyday value. Extraordinary symbolism. Millions of people spent these without thinking. They bought bread, candy, newspapers, coffee, gasoline in a different era. They passed from hand to hand as life moved on, during wars, during victories, during times of change. But through all of that movement, all that ordinary circulation, some nickels didn't follow the rules. Some received an extra strike. Some bore a doubled word. Some came out with the wrong metal, wrong die, wrong year, oddities that slipped silently into the world. Hidden. Waiting. And that's why understanding every curve, line, and letter matters, because errors happen where design meets machinery, where intent meets chance, where precision meets imperfection. Imagine a tiny metal press misaligned by a fraction, barely a hair. Imagine a worker placing the wrong die during wartime rush. Imagine a flaw so small the mint never noticed it, but a collector decades later spots it under bright light and magnification and feels a chill run down their spine. This is the magic of design, not just beauty, but opportunity. Opportunity for history to collide with luck. For knowledge to unlock value. For ordinary eyes to suddenly see what millions missed. And here's the most thrilling part. Millions of Jefferson nickels still circulate today. Nickels that have passed through grocery stores, bank drawers, pockets, coin rolls. Nickels that might have been dropped on sidewalks, lost in couch cushions, sealed in piggy banks. And among them could be that rare error, that unexpected anomaly, that once-in-a-lifetime coin that turns a quiet afternoon of coin searching into a moment that changes everything. A simple design. No. This coin is a story sculpted in metal. And hidden in its lines and letters lie clues. Clues that lead to rarity, value, and mystery. And now that we know what to look for, the features, the structure, the canvas where rare magic appears, it's time to go deeper. Much deeper. Next, we enter the realm collectors love the most, the world of errors, varieties, and insane values, where a tiny detail can send jaws dropping and hearts racing. And soon, very soon, we will reveal whether this nickel truly holds that million-dollar secret the rumors whisper about. But first, prepare yourself. We are about to uncover the rare mistakes that turned common nickels into legends. Now we step into the world where ordinary ends and fortune begins. A world collectors dream about, a place where tiny mistakes become legends. Because as perfect as the mint tries to be, machines slip, dies crack, metal misforms, and sometimes, fate leaves a signature that shouldn't exist. And that's where the Jefferson nickel reveals its most thrilling side, its errors. Imagine a coin struck billions of times over decades. Machines working non-stop. Metal blanks fed one after another like raindrops in a storm. And within that flood, once in a rare while, one coin forms differently. One coin doesn't fit the mold. One coin escapes quality control and quietly enters circulation like a ghost, hidden, unnoticed, waiting. Now imagine being the person who finds it. Let's explore the kinds of mistakes that transform a 5-cent coin into a treasure chest. Double die errors. Letters doubled. Numbers doubled. Sometimes so subtle you need magnification. Sometimes bold enough to see with the naked eye. Liberty stretched twice. The date echoing like a shadow. Monticello letters trembling with a secret. Collectors search these like miners hunt diamonds, because the right doubling doesn't increase value a little. It can increase it hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of times. A double-die Jefferson nickel in high grade has sold for over $5,000 before, and that was just one rare variety. Imagine stumbling on one in a pocket, a world of value hiding in plain sight. Off-center strikes. A coin stamped off balance. Jefferson's face shifted left, right, up or down. Some barely noticeable. Some so dramatic the portrait is broken, the rim missing, stars incomplete, a coin frozen mid-creation, as if the mint machinery itself blinked for just 1 second. An off-center nickel with a clear date and mint mark? That's not just rare, that's sought after. Values often stretch into the hundreds, with dramatic ones reaching over $1,000 depending on condition. Die cracks and cuds. Picture the mint dies, hardened steel, finally tired. They crack under pressure. Tiny fractures first, then bold lines. Those cracks leave raised marks on the coin, lightning streaks, wandering veins, dramatic scars. A cud. That's when a chunk of the die breaks off completely, leaving a dramatic blob of raised metal on the coin. Collectors love die breaks. They tell a story of stress, survival, and rarity. Some dramatic Jefferson nickel cuds have sold for hundreds. Wrong planchet errors. This one is where myth meets reality. Imagine a nickel struck not on nickel metal, but on a cent blank, or on a dime blank, or, the Holy Grail, struck on a foreign coin planchet. These errors don't just raise eyebrows, they create bidding battles. These can explode in value. $1, $000, $5, $000, even $10,000 plus depending on the mistake and year. And remember, rare planchet errors sometimes show up decades later, found in jars or boxes by people who had no idea what they possessed. Doubled mint marks, repunched mint marks, RPMs. Tiny details, tiny letters, yet enormous impact. A mint mark punched twice in 2 positions, or slightly overlapped, or slightly rotated. To the casual spender, invisible. To a trained eye, treasure. Collectors fight over clean, bold RPMs. A strong RPM nickel can climb into the hundreds, sometimes thousands in pristine condition. Full steps, the holy detail. Look at the steps of Monticello on the reverse. 6 steps, but on most nickels, they're blended, worn, weak from the strike. But a perfectly struck nickel, one with full steps clear and uninterrupted, is like striking gold. Some full-step Jefferson nickels have sold $4.15, $000, $25, $000, even over $40,000 depending on the year and condition. Think about that. A normal nickel equals 5 cents. A full-step nickel equals a down payment on a house. And here's the twist. Many full-step rarities were hiding in pocket change before someone noticed. Now pause. Think about what we just explored. Misstruck. Misaligned. Mispunched. A doubled word, a cracked die, a wrong metal, a sharper strike than normal. The tiniest little imperfection. And suddenly a coin no one notices becomes a prize everyone wants. And this is why people search. Why collectors spend hours examining coins under bright lamps. Why rolls of nickels from banks become treasure maps. Why families open old tins, hoping that somewhere in that pile of forgotten coins lies one mistake that destiny placed in their path. This is the thrill. This is the hunt. This is why you and millions of others wonder. Could I be the one to find that nickel? Could my 5-cent coin carry a price tag that shocks the world? And that question, that thrilling, heart-racing question, leads to the rumors. The whispers. The claims across forums, videos, collector circles that somewhere out there, there could be a Jefferson nickel so rare, so extraordinary, so untouched by chance, that it might break records, maybe even stretch into the mythical land of $1 million coins. Is it myth? Is it truth? Is it hope? Is it history waiting to be revealed? Before we answer that, before we face reality and separate legends from facts, hold on to that feeling. The excitement, the possibility, the electricity that comes when a simple coin becomes a mystery wrapped in history and fate. Because soon, very soon, we will peel the final layer. We will reveal whether the million-dollar dream is myth, misunderstanding, or miracle. And trust me, the truth is not what most expect. Stay watching. Stay curious. And don't blink. Because now we approach the moment where rumor meets reality, and everything changes. Let's address the million-dollar whispers head-on. The truth is, almost every coin collector has heard the tales, the stories of a single 1943 Jefferson nickel quietly sitting in someone's pocket, waiting to be discovered, destined to fetch a fortune that could rival a house, a car, or even a small inheritance. The internet is full of screenshots, forum posts, and YouTube videos hinting at coins sold for 7 figures, but if you peel back the layers, the reality is much more grounded. Most of these claims are based on exaggeration, misinterpretation, or marketing hype. A real, authenticated 1943 Jefferson nickel, even one with a dramatic error or rare feature, almost never crosses the million-dollar threshold. In fact, the only coins that reach that kind of astronomical value are typically extremely limited, historically significant rarities. Coins that were never intended for circulation, misstruck in unbelievable ways, or tied to world-changing events. And while 1943 nickels were special because of wartime metal changes, errors, and design quirks, they simply don't have the scarcity to routinely justify 7-figure prices. Yet here's where it gets interesting. The rumors are not entirely baseless. They are fueled by the rare extreme exceptions, a perfect full-step nickel in immaculate, untouched condition, or a misstruck silver-clad 1943 prototype, or a coin so off-center and unique that it becomes essentially one of a kind. These coins do exist, but finding them in circulation is nearly impossible. Most collectors who chase the million-dollar dream never see such a specimen, and even when these coins are auctioned, their price depends heavily on provenance, certification, and condition. The narrative of a hidden fortune in your pocket is compelling, but it is far from the everyday reality. Part of the allure comes from human psychology. People love the idea of sudden, life-changing luck. It's a story that echoes the lottery, treasure hunts, and forgotten inheritance tales. Except in the coin world, it feels tangible, collectible, and historical. Every time a new video or forum post claims that a Jefferson nickel could reach $1 million, it rekindles that spark. Maybe, just maybe, the coin in your drawer is extraordinary. But the reality is a mix of hope, marketing, and exaggeration, with just enough truth to keep collectors searching, inspecting, and dreaming. So, while the $1 million Jefferson nickel is mostly a legend, it serves a purpose. It ignites passion, encourages meticulous study, and keeps history alive. It reminds collectors that even small, everyday objects, a 5-cent coin, a piece of metal struck decades ago, can carry enormous historical significance. The excitement lies not in guaranteed wealth, but in the possibility, the story, and the chance that, in a world of billions of nickels, one might just stand out and command attention beyond imagination. In the end, the lesson is simple. The $1 million claim is largely myth, but the thrill, the search, and the chase are very real. And for collectors, that is a reward in itself. Maybe not 7 figures, but priceless in experience, history, and discovery. And now, as we reach the final chapter of our journey through the story of the Jefferson nickel, it's time to reflect on everything we've discovered and why this humble coin continues to capture the imagination of collectors and casual observers alike. At first glance, the Jefferson nickel might seem like just another piece of everyday change, something that passes silently from one hand to another. Yet, when you dig a little deeper, you realize it's a window into history, culture, and artistry. Each coin carries with it a story that stretches back to 1938, when Felix Schlag's design first graced the obverse and reverse, capturing both the dignified profile of Thomas Jefferson and the elegance of Monticello. Over the decades, that design has become iconic, almost inseparable from Jefferson himself, turning an ordinary nickel into a miniature monument to American heritage. But the story of the Jefferson nickel isn't only about design, it's about evolution and rarity. Over the years, subtle changes in composition, mint marks, and even slight variations in the striking process have created coins that are far more than their face value. From the rare wartime silver nickels of the 1940s to era coins that slipped through quality control, These small differences have turned ordinary coins into treasures worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. And for collectors, that thrill of discovery, that possibility of holding a piece of history in your hand, is exactly what keeps the Jefferson nickel so captivating. The Jefferson nickel also serves as a mirror of its time. During World War II, when nickel was needed for the war effort, the coin temporarily transformed into a silver composition, a change that reflected the needs and priorities of a nation at war. Later, subtle variations in minting and wear tell stories of economic shifts, changes in production techniques, and even the quiet march of time in everyday American life. Each coin is a tiny historical record, silently documenting decades of our past. Collectors often speak of chasing history, and the Jefferson nickel embodies that perfectly. Whether you're examining the faint lines of a 1943 wartime nickel, tracing the evolution of the Monticello design, or hunting for a rare error coin, each piece offers a connection to a moment in time. And that connection, the thrill of discovery, the appreciation of artistry, the understanding of history, is what transforms a simple nickel from pocket change into a cherished artifact. Yet, beyond rarity and value, there's also a sense of accessibility that makes the Jefferson nickel special. Unlike some coins that remain locked in private collections or auction houses, Jefferson nickels are everywhere. You can find them in circulation, in rolls at banks, or tucked away in coin jars. And that means anyone anywhere has the potential to stumble upon a hidden gem, a coin that whispers stories of history, mistakes, or surprises waiting to be discovered. In conclusion, the Jefferson nickel is far more than metal stamped with Jefferson's profile. It's a symbol of American history, a testament to the artistry of coin design, and a thrilling playground for collectors. It reminds us that value is not always about price. Sometimes, it's about stories, connections, and the joy of uncovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. So, the next time you reach into your pocket and pull out a nickel, take a closer look. Examine the face, trace the lines of Monticello, and imagine the countless hands this small coin has passed through. You might not find a rare error or a $1,000,000 piece, but you will hold a slice of history, a story minted in metal, and a reminder that even the smallest things can carry great meaning. Because in the world of coin collecting, and in life itself, it's the details, the history, and the story behind what's seemingly ordinary that make it truly priceless.